Hey folks, my name is Dean Gould, and I appreciate you taking 5, 10 minutes out of your day to learn something that will truly change your life. Just 5, 10 minutes. Just in this video, if you learn this concept, you can go off and learn everything you can about various strategies to implement it, but you can do it on your own. You don't need me. I'm going to limit this video to 5 minutes because if you're like me, some of these get rich quick videos that we all get 10 times a day just sort of go on and on and on forever. So really, you should already know about this, but unfortunately they don't teach it in schools. It's the Rule of 72. It was popularized by Albert Einstein, but it was actually first discovered and presented by an Italian mathematician named Luca Pacioli. He was from Venice, Italy, and in 1494 he presented his Summa de Arithmetica. And so I just say grazie mille, Signora Pacioli, because he presented this mathematical miracle that really can change your life. Albert Einstein once said that compound interest, which is part of the Rule of 72, is the eighth wonder of the world and is mankind's greatest invention because it's the mightiest force ever unleashed for mankind to amass wealth. So listen to Albert's words again. It's the mightiest force that was ever unleashed to allow mankind to amass wealth. So hear what I'm saying, let it sink deep into your brains. This formula, regardless of your race, religion, nationality, gender, or your past, nothing, not anything, not anyone can stop you from using this mathematical miracle and really mathematical fact from obtaining financial freedom. It doesn't matter if you're a teacher, a plumber, a salesman, or a computer program. This formula really works for everyone. The average college graduate earns a starting salary of $50,000. And obviously they'll earn a lot more than that as they move up the corporate ladder. One of the greatest jobs right now in our society is that of nurse practitioner, which does require a college degree and some additional schooling. But the nurse practitioners earn over $109,000 a year. But what if you can't earn a college degree? You can go to a trade school or you can learn a trade. Did you know that the average plumber earns $58,000 a year? That's the average. I met a plumber who only focused on unclogging sinks and toilets, and the guy was earning over $150,000 a year. I met a man recently who told me that his brother lived in a mansion and was also a millionaire because he learned about the Rule of 72 at a young age and immediately began implementing it into his life. The average carpenter earns almost $50,000 a year. This formula has been around for over 500 years, yet less than 5 to 10% of the population has heard of it, let alone really understands it. And very few people apply it in their lives. The rich really do get richer, but it's not because they're exploiting all of us. They do it because they understand compounded interest in the Rule of 72. And due to this wealth mathematical miracle, you can do it too. It's one of the secrets that really isn't a secret. It's been out there. It's just they don't teach it again in school. So the time to act is now, because the sooner you start utilizing this formula, the faster this snowball effect is going to start occurring. Don't live in the past. Stop waiting for the future. Live in the now. Get on the super wealth highway today. Don't wait till tomorrow. In 1989, I was broke. I didn't have 2 nickels to my name, and I was living on the floor of a friend of mine's office. But I learned the Rule of 72 around that time, and I began applying it along with a lot of hard work. But I began applying that formula and saving and a simple strategy, and I was able to obtain financial freedom in my life, and so can you. That's the goal of this video, is to give you hope that you can do it too. So really, I hope that everyone in the US and everyone in the world understands this formula, especially those that are struggling or feel like the American dreams passed them by, or people that are living in poverty. If they can understand and believe in this formula and see that it's not just voodoo, but it's real, and it's a It's a formula that is a fact that they can use this and get out of the situations they're in. It always pains me to read about athletes or entertainers who have 10, 15, $100 million and they end up at the end of their lives broke. If only somebody would have told them about the simple formula, they could have socked away $1 million, $5 million, and that compounded interest, they would end up with 10, 15, $20 million again. But people, take advantage of them as well, and they end up broke. So I'm going to show you two charts that really illustrate this. And it's going to show you how you can get out of the rat race and onto the fast track of life, as Robert Kiyosaki described in what most people consider, along with Think and Grow, another book, Think and Grow Rich. People think of Rich Dad, Poor Dad as one of the best books that changed their lives. So the first thing is, let's talk about the rule of 72. What is it? So really, it's just a simple way to determine how long it will take you to double your money. So whatever amount you've saved up or you have invested is based on the rate of return you're getting on those investments. What is a rate of return? So think of it as if you put $1,000 in the bank and the bank pays you 1% interest, that's your rate of return, 1%. If you take your money and you buy a home with it for $100,000 and that value goes up 10% a year, your rate of return is 10%. And if you buy a stock in the stock market and it goes up 7% a year, your rate of return is 7%. So you take the rule of 72, you take that rate of return, divide it into the number 72, and that tells you approximately how many years it takes you to double your money. So if you're getting a 10% return on your money, divide that into 72, that means that roughly every 7.2 years, you're going to double your money. So using that example of your home, you bought a home for $100,000 and it's going to go up, let's say 10% a year. That would mean that in approximately 7.2 years, your house would then be worth $200,000. If you have a stock and it's going up 7%, 7 into 72 is roughly 10. So your stock value is going to double in roughly 10 years. And again, it's a mathematical fact. It's not voodoo. It's not something that's just out there in thin air. It actually works. So I'm going to prove it to you with two charts. The first chart is a chart of the stock market over the last roughly 100 years. So let me turn on my and share my screen here. Okay, so here's an example or this is actually the stock chart of the S&P 500 over the last approximately 100 years. And what you can see is even in 1931 with the crash of the stock market and the depression, even with this massive drop, the market just keeps going up roughly 10% a year. That's what it's returned, roughly 10%. I find in life that everything always comes back to that 10%. So here you see in 2007, 2008, you had a pretty big substantial drop. Here in, I think it was roughly 1998, you had a big drop, but over time, that market just keeps going up. And here out in 2020 and 2021, it just kept on trucking. So again, roughly 10%. If you take that and you put your money in the broad market, S&P 500, and you leave it there and you don't panic, over time, over the course of your working life, you can expect a roughly 10% return on your money. And the rule of 72, now I want to prove to you how the rule of 72 works and how you can double your money depending on your rate of return. But in this case, if you put it in the market at roughly 10% return, you'll double your money in roughly 7.2 years. So here you are at age 23, and you're putting away $1,000 a month. I know that's a lot of money for a lot of people, but I'm using this as an example. So in year one, you have $12,000, and then you get 10% return in year two. So that's 10% of 12,000 is 1,200. And you put in another $12,000 So after, at the end of year 2, you have $25,200, and so on and so on. So now you have 10% of 25,200 is $2,520 plus the 12,000 you put in that year. So now you're up to 40. So at the end of, I think it's roughly 10 years, you have just under $200,000. So if you never saved another dime for the rest of your life, you're 32 years old, you started when you were 22, now you're 32 and you have just under $200,000. So based on the rule of 72, with a 10% return on your money, you would expect that in roughly 7.2 years, when you're somewhere between 39 and 40, that your money would double. So look, roughly $200 double is 400, and here you are in roughly 7.2 years. Your money is somewhere between 372,000 and 409. Let's say it's roughly $400,000. You've doubled your money in 7.2 years, and it goes on and on. So you're 39 here, so another 7 years you'd be 46. So somewhere between 46 and 47, you would double that roughly 200,000. And here you are